As sports history fans, we often reminisce about the legends. Willis Reed limping onto the NBA Finals court, Kurt Schilling's bloody sock, Kerry Strug's courageous dismount, and so many more. These moments often define sports history. But what about the countless injuries that did not become legends, or careers that were derailed due to inadequate care? That's where this episode's sponsor comes in. Introducing to you, ILP Sports Consultants, your trusted sports injury partner, available 24/7. Brian Maelli at ILP Sports Consultants has over 20 years of experience in the orthopedic and sports medicine industry, and he has worked with athletes across the gamut, from youth to amateurs, professionals, in almost every sport played in the United States of America, accommodating athletes at every stage of their career. This adaptability ensures that ILP services are perfectly tailored to your skill level, no matter where you are in your athletic journey. With ILP, you are in control. Choose the steps that matter most to you. Diagnosis, treatment plan, recovery, or the whole journey. ILP services are tailored to your unique needs. Rushing for care is a common pitfall, leading to future problems. ILP Sports Consultants helps you make the right decisions, ensuring that you receive timely and safe care. And here's a bonus. Brian hosts the Injured List podcast, sharing insights and athlete stories you won't want to miss. Whether you're a concerned parent or grandparent, or an athlete yourself seeking guidance, ILP Sports Consultants is your beacon of hope in sports injury management. Visit ilpsports.com today. That's the letters ilpsports.com. ILP Sports Consultants, where your well-being is the priority and your recovery is the mission. Choose ILP Sports Consultants for a healthier sports journey, helping you get back in the game the smart way.
Blog Talk Radio.
Tonight we'll go back in time to seasons past, when 22 men graced the rugged fields of yesterday, fighting for one more first down, one more yard gain, one final score which would bring victory after 60 minutes of battle on the gridiron. Tonight we'll explore the world of the Gridiron Greats. Welcome to Gridiron Greats Football History and its Memorabilia on the Gridiron Greats Publisher and Broadcasting Network, in conjunction with Swick Enterprises. We're live from the Wallingford, Connecticut home of Gridiron Greats Magazine, and I'm Bob Swick, publisher and editor of Gridiron Greats Magazine, and I'll be your host for the show. Gridiron Greats is the only publication in America which focuses upon the history and memorabilia of the North American football game since its inception in 1869. We cover 150-plus years of football history and memorabilia. You can find us on the web at GridironGreatsMagazine.com. It's at this time I'd like to introduce my co-host. He is a senior contributing writer to Gridiron Greats Magazine, a football memorabilia historian, specializing in pre-World War II items, in particular Red Grange, and also Seattle Seahawk items, in particular Steve Largent. He hails from Portland, Oregon, Mr. Joe Squires. Joe, welcome to the show this evening.
Every time I get an intro from you, Captain, I still love it. And every time you say Red Grange and Steve Largent, I can't think of two things on opposite end of the collecting spectrum more than that.
Well, all I can say is if I hear Red Grange or I hear Steve Largent, I know somehow, somewhere, will be possibly involved in that piece of memorabilia, card, whatever it may be. For you are Mr. Ed Grange and Mr. Steve Largent combined. Joe, we're back.
I learned it from the best. I learned it from some of the best on our groups. I love it.
We're back. It's September, and we have the great unknown of the football season starting or not starting. And let's skip all that talk and let's dive right into some memorabilia. There is a very interesting 1958 Topps football uncut sheet floating around on the bay. Give us a little background on that.
Oh, my, Bob. Seriously. And just about 10 days ago, saw it pop up on eBay. And as you know, one of my, 2-3 times a week, I'm searching for uncut sheets on eBay and other auctions. And, just uncut football sheet run would be, obviously 35 Chickle. Let's plant the flag. That's my white whale. But right up there, the 58 Topps has got to be one of the ones. And it appeared, obviously, the price of more than double what I bought my first house for. Somebody had it listed for the, hey, reach out to me, price of $165,000. But at least they had free shipping.
Well, okay. I was just going to ask, is it free shipping or not? I mean, when you're doing $155K, we'll throw you the bone of the free shipping, okay? And that should seal the deal.
For that amount, they should fly the damn thing out to Portland.
I would drive it out. I mean,
it's 132 cards, 12 by 11. The full set, 1958 is 132 cards. Jim Brown, top row, second from the right, stunning, uncreased, beautiful colors, beautiful centering, no PDs. There's a crease on the sheet about 2/3 of the way down, but who cares when something's 60 years old? At some point, you expect it to have a few dings. Just an amazing sheet. I immediately reached out to the seller and what the hell? Where did you get this? And it's funny when you ping somebody on eBay, you have to ask them a question, and then half the time you get really, cryptic replies, one word. This guy was very gracious. I mean, just 2-3 paragraphs. Yeah, I found it here. I used to collect this set, the 58 set, and at one point I thought a nice complemental piece would be the uncut sheet. It became available. I sold my 6-1 basketball set. He went into his life story, and so I sent him a couple pictures of some of my sheets. I'm like, yeah, ditto. I had the 57 Topps set. I love the sheet. And then he, through channel, you can't give an email address or phone number. He said, hey, look me up on my website right here, and my phone number's there if you want to chat. And called and left a message about 3 days ago and haven't heard back, but I'm sure he will. What a gracious guy. And it's cool to see that off of eBay, somebody who's a fellow collector, and what an amazing sheet. Obviously, $165,000 is a hey, check it out kind of price. I have no idea what a sheet like this is worth, but I would guess $15,000-$20,000 easily. Probably 15 if it was being sold. What do you think, Bob?
Well, my gut feeling, if he had gone to an auction house, number one, they probably would have given him a little better advice as far as the figure is concerned. My realistic view of it, and not to pump up the price of it, but I think it's probably $40,000 to $50,000. That's my honest opinion.
Oh my God.
Because I think they are beyond rare, to be honest with you. And with the Brown rookie, that would be the driving force, in my opinion. Although I could be completely wrong on it, you know what I mean. You have a better handle on the uncut sheet market than I do. But just something of that historical significance, to me, I just think it's worth some serious money. I do agree with you that the price he has it at is not realistic, or that's the figure he needs to pay off a mortgage or whatever. I don't know. I mean, I can't figure it out type of thing.
I'm looking at it now.
So,
I'm on eBay while we're doing the show, and I'm just looking at it now. There's a couple creases in it, through the Sonny Jurgensen, through the John Unitas. There's a couple creases in there, but still, I'm counting 3 on the back. There's a lot better pictures, but look at this picture he has of the Jimmy Brown. It's just it's amazing. It'd be a shame to cut something like this up just for the Jim Brown, but I don't know. How many sheets are there like that?
Yeah.
I have a 69 sheet. Yes, I do.
Okay. All right.
Did you say 1969? Did you say 69 or 59? I'm sorry.
59.
I have a 3/4 of a 1959 sheet.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think because of the rarity of it, it is worth more. But again, I threw out 40 to 50,000. I could be completely off. I can't see it. I can't really see it higher than that in any way, shape, or form.
Wow.
Brown or no brown. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I could. Go ahead.
I think I was telling you about, about 2 months ago, I had 1933 Sports King uncut sheet came up, the Thorpe, the Grange, Rockney. I mean, and I was like, that'd be pretty cool. I mean, 3 football players out of 36. And it went for, I think, $65,000. I forget what price it went for, but I was stunned by that.
Yeah.
But, there's 2 Babe Ruths and 1 Ty Cobb in there. I mean, it's, when you bump heads with baseball collectors.
Yeah, and to me, I thought that was a low price for that because of all the stars of baseball there, which drove the whole set. And hardcore baseball collectors, that's a once in a lifetime pickup as far as I'm concerned. I mean, that's another thing you never see around.
Yeah.
So
here it is. I'm doing a show today from my office. I usually do the show from my home office, but I'm doing it from my work office today. And I've sent you pictures of my work office. The entire back wall of my office, it's 20 feet long, is hanging with uncut sheets, and it would look so good right there. I don't know, Bob.
It'll look good, but at a much better price than
what
he's advertising it for and what I just quoted you. So. But that's that's a good basis to go by. If that other sheet went for whatever 65K, maybe it'd be worth half the amount. I don't know. Again, I don't know. I don't have a good handle. I never got into it as far as uncut sheets were concerned, and their perceived value one way or the other, what they are, or what they aren't. So it's amazing.
14 people watching it. 14 people watching it. So. Including me. I'm sure a couple people that I pointed out to, but it's been pointed out to me that I have a running, luck-filled history of when I bring things up on the Gridiron Greats podcast that things tend to fall my way. So I thought it was worth mentioning. 1958 sheet that came up just in case. I want to keep my
somebody has it out there. If somebody has it out there, please contact us ASAP. We're available 7/24/365.
Think about it, Captain. How many of these sheets are there?
Well, that's the whole thing, and it's to me they're in a way totally ignored out of the hobby because they are so rare. But they are, to me, you are the uncut sheet, in the market because you have so many. Number one, you've been doing this for a long time. You understand. The process of it, the printing process of it, so you know what the sheets look like, so on and so forth. So to me, it's an amazing part of our hobby that really is totally overlooked to a large degree, and is misunderstood by a lot of people. And I think that's that's both good and bad for the hobby at the same time. Because again, if we don't understand what the process was, we really don't. We don't have a handle where all these cards came from over the years. And I've been involved in printing most of my life because of my brother-in-law who has owned printing companies all his life. And, he prints Gridiron Greats for us. So I know a little bit about printing and as far as sheets and so on and so forth. But if you really think about it, and I always said this, there are no such things as diamond cuts in cards from the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, up to probably the mid-80s. So again, I don't understand how you could have a razor-sharp, 1949 Leaf or 52 Bowman large card. I just don't see it. I don't understand it. I can't fathom it. So, again, here's something that we could say, okay, the cutting of the cards back then was dramatically different than the laser cuts that they use today. I mean, the cutters today are laser cutters, so there's no error. That's what it comes down to, But it's totally. It's an amazing part of our hobby that I really feel has never been touched upon and talked about a lot because there's very few people who know anything about it. And, over the years of being in the hobby for 50-plus years, I say to myself, the only thing I ever really handled were 1960 Fleer strips, football. Yeah. I've handled a lot of them over the years for whatever reason. They seem to be common here in Connecticut. And, and that's about it. And that 63 scrap piece that I bought, that I sent to you, that I found at an antique shop, which to me was a throwaway by the printer more than anything else. Yeah. So
and sheets are hard to store. A lot of people don't collect them.
Yeah, exactly.
People that I've heard, it's like it's hard to store. What am I supposed to frame it? And then it's hard to put on the wall. If I'm not going to frame it, what am I going to do with it? And I've committed myself. I have a room where I built a shelf that's like 4 by 8. It's a piece of large flat MD of MDF, and then I have something that lays on top of it. So, I've committed to storing these things, and I've got them hanging on my wall. So it's just, so now it's easy.
Yep. So you're actually enjoying it, and you can view it, and it's a good reference tool at the same time, because then you see what the four corner cards are on the sheets, because they're going to be in the worst condition of any of the cards, including most of the top row and the bottom row. So again, like I said, it's way overlooked. It's way misunderstood, and I think I should commission you to write a book on them, and we'll publish it through Gridiron Greats.
Great articles I'm working on right now. I've sent you the templates for a few, but I got a couple, and then I was downstairs rummaging around in my man cave, and I came across some 1976 Seattle Seahawk Fred Myers issue, and they're beautiful looking set, and I'm like, you know what, Gridiron Greats needs an article on 1976 Fred Myers Seahawks. So that's the next one I'm starting.
It's funny. In all the years I've collected, that I've always wanted one of those as a type piece, just to see what they like. And I think I had at one time, I may still have it, was a Fred Meyer Canadian CFL card. And they seem to be oversized, and they must have, what they do, put them in the potato chip bags or whatever, or the food bag. Okay, yeah. So that's very interesting to me. Again, that to me is still an overlooked part of the hobby. Is all these different oddball sets that were issued over the years, and where they came from.
You're the expert. You're the expert. You've done a lot more than I have. I know the local stuff. You're the guy, talking about. Yeah, you know a lot more about them than I do.
Well, I've been collecting it all my life too, and I always said to myself, I have a really tough time getting rid of a lot of my oddball stuff. And again, I don't mind helping somebody out if they need one or two to finish their sets or whatever. But they're so darn tough to find, and they're to me it's a heck of an accomplishment when you finish whatever kind of a 1976 Fred Meyer set or a 1980 Tampa Bay Bucks police set, which is not really a police set, but was issued by a local electronics distributor down there. Those things are rarer than rare, and it fascinates me. It really fascinates me. I got to say this: 2 sets I finished, and I was so excited when I finished them. One was my 62 post serial set, and I'm talking years later, and my 62-63 Solata T-coin set. When I found the last piece, the last card and the last coin for those sets, man, oh man, I must have looked at those albums 10 times over when I put the last card in the sheet and the last coin in the sheet. It was just incredible feeling.
Yeah,
those are tough. tough sets to put together. They're difficult to say the least.
Oh. Well, there's a reason you know a lot about all these esoteric local sets. There's a reason they call you the captain, and I'm just Joe Squires because of that.
I truly enjoy. I just truly enjoy collecting oddball stuff. I love it. I love oddball card sets, and I particularly love the era of 48 to 88. Those to me, that 30-year period, I could get rid of everything else, but just keep my 48 to 88 oddball stuff. It's just truly amazing. Yeah, the other thing that's overlooked, and we talked about this, were police sets. I finally did an inventory of what I actually had of them. I said, holy mackerel, I couldn't believe how many I had squirreled away of those. And those I enjoy because they got you got stars in them. And they're not, to me, overly readily available. I mean, they are in the market. But there's just not a great demand for them. And,
I discovered the police sets, obviously putting together my large master set. And I thought that was a local thing, that only Seattle put out the police sets. And it was kind of interesting when I discovered other police sets, like from Pittsburgh and stuff. Was that pretty much a national thing? Because they're 79 to 89 was when the police sets were put out? Is that? Yep. So does every city have a 79 to 89?
Well, most of them did, but not all of them. And a lot of the sets were, the biggest popularity was 79, 80, 81, 82. And then it pretty much died out, in my opinion, 89, 90. I mean, there still are teams like the Packers that are still doing them. And the Packers sets didn't start until 83. So that was kind of interesting. But there were big teams, 79. Kansas City Chiefs were very popular, 79 through 89. And Vikings also. Cardinals had a couple sets in between. Seattle had sets in between.
Yeah.
So, and Detroit Lions had them too. So, again, it's to me, it's very interesting and very historical. And at the same time, they're very, very interesting cards of star players that you don't really see, like Barry Sanders and others in a lot of those sets. And they're fun. And there's a lot of college sets too, police sets from that time frame that I own also. So pretty interesting.
Has anyone cataloged the police sets? Like how many different cities have them?
Well, they would be in the Beckett book. You gotta break it down from team by team. Actually, I'll do that. I'll start going through it and see what teams had what years. I'll start working on that. That'll be another project.
Yeah.
Of mine.
Yeah.
Be interesting.
Pretty early. Like I said, I only know the Seattle ones, and I want to say it was 10 years ago when I discovered other people had them. So I'd be curious to how many variations of police sets there are. Pretty cool.
Yeah. I know for a fact the Packers are the longest running from 83 up to last season. I'm sure they'll do one this season again. Yeah, so they've been around a long time, and their sets will always hold value because you got Favre and you got Rodgers in them. So those are the keys to those sets. So. All right, our guest is here, and I'd like to introduce him to our show. He's been a lifelong professional football fan, a Pittsburgh Steelers fan since the late 1970s. He's married with 2 children and lives in the greater Pittsburgh area and is a chemical engineer and head of technical development for an area chemical company. He collects almost any cards and collectibles associated with the Steelers and is always looking for a new item he has not seen to add to his collection. At this time, I'd like to introduce, as our special guest tonight, Mr. Derek Crawford. Derek, welcome to the show.
Hello, welcome, Bob and Joe. Thank you for this opportunity. I could just sit and listen to you guys talk about sheets and police sets there because I'm rummaging through my binders. You're talking about police sets to find out what the year run for the Steelers were.
Good. I know I got a few. I don't know which years I have. I'm going to check on that. But I'm going to lead off by asking you, how did you become interested in football and collecting?
late 70s, watching the playoff games especially, and then the Super Bowls there for the Steelers during that awesome decade for the history of the team there. Someone eventually had put a pack of Topps 1978 football cards in my hands, and I opened.
Yes.
That was it. It's one of those weird clarity points in your life where I remember the room I was in my grandmother's house, standing by a dresser, opening the cards, and then putting the cards one by one on the dresser top as I looked at them for the first time. It was just really neat, and I got to tell you, I was hooked in, and so that's what started me. And then I looked in the backs of the cards and said, these have numbers on them, so there must be a lot of them. And you know what I mean, in your mind at that time, I was. Yeah,
That's good.
Yeah, because then something else kind of triggered my mind. Well, I don't like not having all of them. I want all of them, and that's kind of what started the bug for me.
Wow,
that's
good. Funny. There, my first set was 78. Had a little bit of an introduction to it. And then 79 is where I really took off.
Yeah, no, the cards there too. It was a couple years into it, and then growing up in the greater Pittsburgh area here, we live just in the northwest corner of Pittsburgh now. But growing up, I would scour all the local flea markets at the time for cards, because there weren't really card shops, at least in my area that I knew of as a kid living in more rural Pittsburgh area. So I would do everything I could to get to a flea market to go and get more cards that were already open to understand more about what was going on.
Cool. So did you grow up in the Pittsburgh area, or is that where you're from?
Yeah, I sure did. I grew up in we got my joke is we got our second red light 10 years ago in the little town of Perryopolis, PA.
Well,
that's the southeast corner of Pittsburgh.
So I'm a Seattle Seahawks fan. Grew up in Pacific Northwest, and so I mean, we were the AFC West up until like 2001, and so I grew up learning to hate, the Raiders, the Broncos, the Chiefs, stuff like that. And now that we're still in the NFC, now that we moved over to the NFC West, it's kind of funny. I, went to a, Seahawk Raiders game, and I made a sign that said, some AFC West rivalries never die, and people didn't get it. I'm like, well, I still don't like the Raiders. My two favorite teams, the Seattle Seahawks and whoever's playing the Oakland Raiders, now the Las Vegas Raiders. I don't like the Raiders, and it's just from that AFC days. And the reason I'm saying this is the Pittsburgh Steelers are number 3 on that list just because of beating the Seattle Seahawks in the Super Bowl in 2005.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that, friend.
Which also leads to the question, so obviously you just kind of gave us a hint into how you started collecting Pittsburgh Steelers and Steelers memorabilia, and how'd you get into that? And I assumed you either lost a bet or you grew up in the area. So,
well, I grew up in and what really turbocharged things was you go through life, and definitely in the collecting universe here, and if you're blessed enough, you'll get kind of a mentor figure. Well, that was my best friend's from high school's dad. I would ride my bicycle a couple miles down to his house back in the days when you could do that and not care about all the stuff that could go on, and it was just such a fun thing. Candyland was this guy's garage, and it still is to this day. Bless his heart. He's in his mid 80s, and he's going strong and still collecting and still going to flea markets as best he can now, and collecting stuff.
Wow.
I mean, everything with the word Steelers on for themes, and so that's what I was as a kid. When in 1982, he put into my hands an unopened pack, a cello pack that was in a cardboard box of 1971 football cards. He goes, "You like the Steelers? You don't ever open this because Terry Bradshaw could be in there."
Wow!
And I'll never forget that day. And it's not the item, as you guys know. It's the fact that he taught me how to open up the pack in the proper way so that you didn't damage the pack either, because you wanted to collect the wax paper package that came in. And he just had a great way, and I'd never even thought about some of this stuff, but he kind of taught me how do you put the cards into the 9-page sleeves and how do you take care of them properly? What's a D-ring binder? I didn't know, but I do now. and you just kind of get to that. So I was kind of, I was the kid he didn't have. And now I got two kids that are not collectors either, unfortunately. They appreciate it, but I certainly had the bug, and that's who really did that. It was such a blessing years later to call him up and say, Mr. Miller, I'm driving you and me to the National in Cleveland. That was the two Nationals in Cleveland ago. And I'm going to do everything for you, and we're just going to walk the show together. And I just want to say thank you for all the things you did for me as a kid, and all the advice and stuff. So that's my story on that.
Wow. Now, you all right? So you took him to the National both times. Yes. It was in Cleveland. Wow. That's nice.
No.
That's nice. Oh, you did.
Okay. Yeah, the two times
okay.
ago. At Cleveland, yeah, and then I was able to take them there, and just did it right. Walked there, spent a couple days, got hotel rooms for each of us, and just to walk that show with him. And he had never been to a National. He just
wow.
We're rural, so it's not really something that was in the cards for him, so to speak. So he just really, really enjoyed it. It was such an amazing thing.
Wow.
I obviously. Well, we missed the National this year for certain, but it was just a treat.
How cool is that? I mean, nobody showed me how to take care of cards. I mean, I'm the kid who was putting a rubber band around them and throwing my lunch pail, rattling around with the milk that spilled out of my thermos, I mean,
he's a nice guy, but he was the tough love guy. He is the tough love guy. He'd hit you upside the head and say, what are you doing? Don't you know how to take care of something properly? And, man, from day one, I learned how to treat the cards with reverence and respect and all that good stuff. So I really just can't thank him enough.
Wow, that's nice. That's great. That's great. I'm wondering if I talked to you guys at the National, because I was set up both times with MSB BST auctions at the time, and I probably did talk to you and talk to him. Oh. That would have been interesting.
I'm sure.
So. Would have been very interesting.
Yeah, no, I guarantee you that I know Joe's face too, and I know that I've seen everybody at the National, but now it's just connecting the dots. And I mean, being now a part of the VFC has really been an awesome blessing, because now I get to meet some of the guys, and I don't even think they realize who I am. It doesn't matter, but now I know who I got beat out on some auction decade.
Now it comes.
Yeah, when the day after an auction ends, you it's like, hey, what did everybody win? You get to see like, oh, you're the dude who was outgunning me, on that. It is kind of funny. And it's like Jeff mentioned, when he goes, it's getting kind of funny when an auction, when an auction starts and you recognize 70% of the auction items as somebody, and you know who the consignor is just because you've been around so long. It is kind of funny.
Yeah,
exactly.
It sure is. It's a great community, though, right? You know what I mean? It's a great community because of that, and there's the respect for each other, and it's just really great.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah,
Derek.
Yeah.
Tell us about your top 6 items in your collection.
Okay. Yeah, I'd love to. First one is I found an original photograph. It came from a wonderful lady's home in the north side of Pittsburgh. She was a family member of a prominent boxer at the time, and it was and it is a photo of the J.P. Rooney's football team that was in existence just about 2 seasons, 1931 and 1932, just prior to him getting the franchise in 33 for the then Pittsburgh Pirates Football Club. And nice. It was JP is one of the brothers, 3 brothers of Art Rooney, and it was during that time that you saw in the photo both JP, James, and Art in the picture. and it has the nice little megaphone. So it was definitely the official photo for the team that year, and I've never seen another one like it. And it just it's a good friend of mine. You know, again, you get to be friends in the town I live in now. There's a wonderful guy, Jeff Patton, who owns the baseball card castle in Cranberry Township, Pennsylvania. And he's so kind. Whenever he finds older Steelers stuff and more diverse oddball stuff, he calls me first or emails me first and says, Derek, hey, I really think you need to check some of these things out. So sure enough, this was the latest thing. She had sold most of the estate to Leland's, but there were a lot of these extras there that she just kept finding in closets that she said, oh, hey, I guess I forgot to tell the folks about this. So thankfully for me, this photo was, yeah.
Wow.
It's pretty cool.
Wow.
So far,
Wow.
it's so fun. Like, yeah, I've heard reference and seen things. I know that one of the Rooney family members has some prints that they're selling online, and even had a line of sculptures made of the Hope Harvey team, which is the semi-pro team where actually all the Rooney brothers played during the 20s. But you can't find, or at least I have not found photos of the Hope Harvey team or the ones where they were affiliated for a couple of years with the company Laughlin. I'm getting that name wrong, pardon me, but he was a seller of the Majestic radio line, which is a very famous line of radios during those decades. And I can't find anything in that area either. But to find the J.P. Rooney's was really special. So it's definitely on my chronological Steelers wall now, down in my man cave.
Huh. Very cool.
Wow.
What else you got?
Yeah. A couple years later, 1936 football signed by the Pittsburgh Pirates football team versus the college All-Stars. And Elmer Layden has a great signature on the ball of, the Notre Dame fame there. So it was really great. One or two of the players we know from their names that they only played during the 36 season. So it really gives a great time frame to the ball. The only thing I had to do is obviously get it the bladder replaced. But there's a great guy in Cleveland, so professional, so kind. He was able to expertly undo the lacings without having to destroy the laces. A lot of times I understand you have to change out the laces afterwards, but he was able to keep the original. Yeah, and just put a new bladder in it so it could display better. But that's pretty interesting football. Yeah.
Wow. That is very common with football, so the laces need to be replaced. And although it may to some people it may distract from the ball, it actually makes the ball look a lot more attractive. But in this case, and I'm looking at the picture of it that you sent us, that looks perfect as far as I'm concerned. Wow, what a job he did! That's amazing.
Yeah. I'd have to remember his name and let folks know if they're interested in getting a ball that's deflated redone.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have any, because he was just so kind and so quick with it, and good communicator. So, yeah, that's it's just it was neat to find that. That was another find that came in through my friend Jeff at the baseball card castle. It's kind of the Cheers football for baseball collectors in the Pittsburgh area. They kind of come and hang out and loiter in Jeff's store and just talk sports and stuff. So it's kind of nice, even with a mask on now. We don't care.
So people would come in and talk about something, and he'd be like, "Well, we'd be interested." And then he'd let you know. So I mean, he was giving you heads up on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and that's really, I mean, beyond kind. He basically has the agreement that, hey, if rare things from the Pittsburgh Steelers and sports era come in, like when Bruce Tanner, Chuck Tanner, who passed away a few years ago, the Pirates baseball coach, his son came in with remnants of his dad's estate. He allowed me to look through those items first. That's how I found a 1982 football from Art Rooney that inscribed it to Chuck Tanner, to my friend Chuck Tanner, from Art, your friend, and too. I mean, that kind of stuff you just don't see or won't see because they're unique. So, I don't know.
Exactly.
I'm getting off track.
All right, what else you got?
Yeah, just like programs and ticket stubs. I really love it. I love the history of it. What I do there's like the way the game room's set up in our house is that you have these little footers around the ceilings where they put beams through. Well, it's the perfect size that I can fit side by side game programs. So I was able to find the first Steelers game program from 1940 when he changed the name. And as well as the first ever game ticket stub in excellent shape from that game. So it's just neat to see the history of that. If you have them all in a row, you can see by the decade just how, Bob, you talked about printing before and your background in that. It's wonderful for me to see how things have been marketed and sold and promoted during the years, like 30s and then 40s of these war years, how much of an impact that was. It's just amazing. We collect the sport, but there's an art and Americana to it, too.
To me, some of the most attractive football stubs are from the 40s and 50s. I mean, they're just incredible pieces. The artwork, the design work to it, and what actually had to go into it to print it truly amazes me. And, some of those tickets from those eras are just absolutely beautiful. They are. And the programs, too, because they're classic. They're very classic as far as the pictures are concerned, the colorful front cover and or the design on the front cover, the cartoon, whatever it may be, just really adds so much to it. It's a lost art almost. It's amazing to see.
Yeah, I agree, because it was about the mid to 80s when you went to the more high resolution photographs of the players on the program, right?
Oh yeah. And they're mass produced too, so it's a lot different. So very different.
Mm-hmm. So next, I collect pennants as well. I found a very 1944 pennant from the war years when they combined the team. 43 was the Steagles, but the pit cards were in 44. I'm not aware of any Steagles-based pennants.
Classic Steagles. I love it.
Yeah, so but the 44 pit cards pennant is what I had, and it's really great because you see the 1944 on there, ultra rare. I've only seen a handful in existence. I got beat out at auctions twice, and it's probably with VFC members. They're just not making themselves known to me. but I was able to get this one the third time's the charm, right? And I love it. I try to collect the different types of memorabilia for the Steelers in a chronological way. So in my basement on another wall, I'll have it from the 40s on up to present of the pennants to kind of show the art and how the things have changed over the decades.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful pennant.
Those are cool. There's like an auction house that's dedicated only to pennants and stuff. I mean, Bob and I had another, pennant collector on the show. It's one of the facets of the hobby I'd never even known about.
Yeah, and the folks who know it, they know it. It's amazing. I've learned so much. There's a great guy that goes to the National every year from Texas, and he's wonderful, and he has a great background on the pennants there, and so it's just great to interact with him. And now again, those awesome pennant collector members at BFC, just to see the depth and again the beauty of the art. It's sports art.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Exactly. I've been in the hobby a while. Your call name on VFC is Terrible Towel 71, so I'm assuming the 71 is when you were born. But if you started collecting in 78, you've been doing this a long time. You've got to have a couple good stories of bumping into other collectors. In this journey of your collection. Got any fun stories you can share with us?
Oh yes, definitely. Just to you have the collecting stories. There's again a collector that came into Jeff's store again, and he said, "Oh, hey, there's somebody that wants to sell something. He doesn't know what to do with it." So she brought in this huge box of items, and here she was the granddaughter of one of the ladies who had worked for the Rooney family as a nanny. in one of, and had this box full of stuff. And it was a mint Super Bowl IX program. And she said, well, this is what they said sat on Mr. Rooney's desk. That was one of the copies of her Super Bowl program that sat there. Now, we have no way of proving that, but it was neat. And in that box, though, was a letter opener that has Art Rooney's name inscribed in the handle. And everyone who knows about the Chief knows what a prolific writer he was. He was always so kind, and anybody that wrote him, he would write them back. I have postcards to different, Pitt University coaches and staff, and just different players. Tony Dorsett as a player at Pitt, wishing him the best and knowing that he'll have a great NFL career ahead of him. I mean, stuff like that. So I just picture him sitting at the desk that you see in some of the photos, maybe using the letter opener to open up some correspondence. That was my story of another person that didn't really know what they had in that box of items.
Wow. That's amazing. That's truly amazing. And that's the nice part about the hobby, because you never know where something would come from, and to have a providence like that is just truly amazing to actually see. And again, the Rooney legacy is just so strong in Pittsburgh, and for everything they did for the team, so on and so forth. Having anything associated as a collectible that actually resided with him is even more amazing to me. So that's a great part of the great story. That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Back it up a bit. Tell us a little bit about those season-worn gloves that you had from 2008 from Super Bowl 43. I think we skipped that over.
Yeah. No, we did. I just was looking there at some items there, and I don't some of the game use things. I mean, it's all budget based. So, and some of the things for the Steelers are very hard to find. They've gone through decades where a lot of teams in the NFL will have access to used materials, but the Steelers were not one of those teams. I'll call the Rooneys frugal. So when you do find some things, it's pretty interesting. What came in was I was walking through a flea market, and there was a young guy there, and he says, hey, I actually help out in the equipment room, and some of these guys say that it's okay to take them, and I get them signed, and I bring them to the flea market. And that's where I found these gloves. And
oh, my Lord. Wow.
During that season, he has a unique signature because the humble man want to sign his signature with his actual name, and he's done that since he was even at USC in college. But anyway, that's where it was, and I was able to photo match the gloves for that season in a photo. And also, if you just look at the base Topps football card from that year of the Super Bowl 43 season, 2008 or so. Am I getting that number right? Then you see him actually in the play with that exact glove type on. Not obviously, maybe not the exact same gloves, but that type for that year.
Right.
That was really amazing to find that sitting in the gravel on a plastic at the Trader Jack's flea market south of Pittsburgh.
Wow. Well, it all goes to prove you never know when you're going to find. That's why the hunt is always half the fun of collecting. So because you must have been jumping for joy when you saw that one. So
definitely. When you went to that antique shop, you said, and found the uncut sheet. I mean, that's just like the wow moment. You'll have to go to 20 places or 100 places, but it's that one place that gets you hooked for the next 100 visits.
Yep, exactly. What are you looking for as far as any want lists are concerned for your collection, if anything? There's a list. The home game program from 1933 for the Pittsburgh Pirates football has eluded me. I got outbid not once but twice. I got crushed in auctions trying to get my grubby hands on a copy of a home game program. It's the only year I don't have a home game program for the Steelers. So I'd love to try to get that. I know of a couple VFC members, but
If there's anybody out there that is tired of their copy and wants to find a new home for it, contact me. But all kidding aside, it's just something that I can't find. Also, ticket stubs. I can't. The 30s ticket stubs are just so scarce. 33, 34, 35, and 30 are top ones for.
They're top.
And even if they have like scores and stuff written on them, I don't even care. I just want to see a copy just for the sake of seeing what they look like. And so those are something I'm looking for.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
No, they're tough. I mean, especially from the 30s. I mean, as a couple of guests have mentioned, I mean, you think about paper drives of the war and just, I mean, and Bob and I have talked about, how many, house fires and floods and, kids moving out and parents just throwing it away. I mean, that stuff's just getting harder and harder.
No, that is true.
That's why anything pre-1945, in my opinion, is rare. Ticket stub or program or publication, whatever it may be. There's just not a lot of them around in any way, shape, or form. So, but I'm sure you'll find it, though. I'm sure you'll find it.
Yeah, I think, well, like patience, right? It's not jumping at the first thing if it's not for whatever reason in a condition or something that you wouldn't like. It's just staying the course and having fun with the hunt, because that's where a lot of the joy is too, right? It's the hunt.
Absolutely. Derek, I like that. When we have good, fun guests on, we like to do a little pop quiz for them. Just so settle in, and I'm just going to give you two choices, A and B. And what you need to do is answer with your first gut instinct, and then I'll let you know if that is the correct answer. So, all right, you ready?
Yes, I am.
You ready? All right. Choice A or B. Steel Curtain or Legion of Boom? Which one's better?
Steel Curtain. I got to say Steel Curtain.
Let me flip the card over and see what the answer is. No, the correct answer to that one is Legion of Boom. Sorry, Derek.
You know what? We're going to say that.
Question number 2. Let me know when you're ready.
I'm a little less ready, but I think I'm ready now. Go ahead.
All right. Terrible Towel or 12th Man? Which one? Which one's better?
Oh my. I eBay, just seeing all the other namesakes in my universe for Terrible Towel. I got to go with the Terrible Towel.
Let me flip the card over. See what? No, the correct answer was 12th Man. Sorry, Derek. 0 for 2. But I think you can pull this out. A couple more questions. All right. Question number 3. Chuck Knoll or Chuck Knox?
Oh my goodness! I gotta. Chuck Knoll. I'm staring at 1959 Cons Wiener's Chuck Knoll card, and he wouldn't have me answer any other way.
All right, let me turn the card over. You are correct, Chuck Knoll. Chuck Knoll. You are correct.
Really?
Chuck Knoll was the answer there.
Oh, okay. All right.
This Seahawk fan is surprised that was the answer, but even I got to go Chuck Knoll. I got to give the old man, the nod. All right, question number 4. Are you ready?
Yes.
Lynn Swan or Steve Largent?
Oh, wow. Wow. I should have warned you on that one.
You know what? I'm gonna say A and B for different reasons. Just bear with me here. You got to go with Largent for the total career achievements there, but you got to go Lynn Swan because of those truly ballet-like catches that he had in those late 70s years.
Let me turn the card over and see. Wow, you nailed that. It says Steve Largent with an asterisk, but Lynn Swan had some pretty nice catches. So now that you nailed that one there. Well done.
Oh wow, that's awesome. That's
and what's funny is
I thought it was Largent hands down for crying out loud.
Yes.
I can't believe
the
they
answer
would even do
Steve
that.
Largent, yeah. But, well, what's funny is the question originally said John Stallworth, or Steve Largent, but it got changed to Lynn Swan at the last moment. So.
Oh.
Well, nice job, Derek. You got a 25%, 3 out of 4 there. That's a solid F-. So well done.
That was a good one tonight.
Wow. Better luck next show. Better luck next show, brother.
All right, I'll try harder to study up.
You got to get in the right frame of mind. You got to know where the questions are coming from.
Yes.
It's like in
who the
poker,
question.
don't play the cards, you play the man.
And don't worry, because we've never had a guest get 100%, so don't feel bad about it. I don't think it will.
Good. Oh, good.
Hey, we're getting
that makes it feel better.
We're getting close to running out of time here, so I got to get in and ask you final thoughts and any advice for beginning collectors.
For beginning collectors, buy the base product of stuff at first, and just enjoy cracking packs. And when you do want to get serious with higher end things, do your homework. I mean, you know what? The research pays off if you're patient and you really try everything you can about something before you pull the trigger on it. So that would be my.
Yeah. Good.
That's true.
Yeah, although
very true.
Although doing your homework before you crack wax packs is getting a little more expensive lately, especially if you like your 70s.
Yes, it sure does, and that is tougher for certain. I haven't opened packs in too long a time, and now with the newer stuff, the way that they're engineering the scarcity, it's I guess going the way of these case breaks and box breaks and pack breaks. And actually, kind of funny, last night was the first time I ever bid and won a Steelers box break for 2020 Panini Prism, and got a handful of Chase Claypool cards. So I'm not unhappy. So, but it was, I think that's kind of the way it goes. Some of these packs are hundreds of dollars each, and you have to kind of wonder if maybe it's better to just buy them post opening.
Yeah.
Well, the problem with that is they're eliminating set collecting, and that's not a good. To me, that's not a good sign for the hobby. Because again, if you're only going to collect a player, you're only going to collect a team. You know, you've got a lot of sets over the years. That what's going to happen to those? Or is there going to be any interest in them down the road? So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But I'm always fascinating at the National now how many box break places there are. Dealers and tables set up, and I just don't get it. But it is what it is. The hobby's a lot different than 1965. That's all I can say. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Bob and Joe, I agree. I'm not personally. It's all subjective, but I'm not a fan of these case breaks. I did it once on a lark. I was really kind of underwhelmed by the whole process, and I'm just going to go and just get the packs that I knew and loved. So. At least for me, anything 1989 and less is good. And after that, I got to be really selective on what I think is worth putting in the collection there, just from a standpoint of other things. I love, in fact, going oddball comments. I love going after all the awesome oddball stuff now. It is so fun.
Yep, exactly. It's a great part of the hobby, to say the least. All right, Derek, we're almost out of time. Thanks for being on. We appreciate it. And I'm sure we'll be talking soon. Got an amazing collection, and thanks for sharing it with us tonight.
Bob and Joe, thanks so much. I appreciate it, and be well. And hope I'll be listening in on podcasts in the future. And guys,
right back at you, Derek. Thank you.
All right, we're almost out of time, and we're gonna go in our 2-minute warning and wrap up. Joe, I'm handing it off to you. What'd you pick up on tonight's show?
What a classy guy. What a great sense of humor. Think about you got to have a great sense of humor to come on the show and to out of left field, because for everybody listening, we have a script, that we send to guests with some questions on it so they know what's coming. But then there's certain things that they don't know that are coming. And by that I mean, some of the dumb stuff I throw out. So what a good sense of humor. So tip of my hat to you, Derek. Nice job.
Well,
thanks for having a great sense of humor.
We always say the quiz is a part of the levity of the show, so it is what it is. I've never failed not to laugh during one of the quizzes. So, but I got to say this: he's got an incredible collection, and it's just cool to hear how he started and Mr. Miller and talking about Mr. Miller and how he had a mentor in the hobby, and that's what I feel really strongly about. I wish we had more mentors in the hobby showing young kids or, teenagers or showing guys in their 20s and 30s who'd want to pick up the hobby again. This is where we're at. This is what you should do. This is how you open a pack of cards. And I never had any of that. It was
I don't think
many years later. Many years later, I actually figured out a lot of stuff. And I always said this. I never knew there was what a set of cards was when I first started buying cards. I didn't know there were 198 cards of the set. I had no clue. I mean, it wasn't until the 1970s I figured out that there are all these sets, and it just never made sense to me. All right, we're down about 40 seconds. If you're not a subscriber to Gridiron Greats, what are you waiting for? Check out our website, gridirongreatsmagazine.com. Joe, final thoughts.
Great show. Great guest. Thanks for putting it together, Captain.
It was fun. It was great. And we'll be back hopefully in about a week to 10 days with another show for September. Until then, thanks for listening, and we'll be back. GridironGreatsMagazine.com. Thanks.
Hey there, sports history fan. This is Arnie Chapman, a.k.a. the Football History Dude, and I wanted to thank you for stopping by to listen to another episode here on the Sports History Network. Our podcasters are passionate about uncovering and sharing sports stories from yesteryear. And if you didn't know it already, we have over 30 shows across the network covering all sorts of sports history topics. In fact, here's a glimpse into one of our awesome podcasts here on the network.
Each week, the official Football Learning Academy podcast will take you deep into the history of pro football through interviews with players, coaches, or administrators in the NFL, as well as interviews with Pro Football Hall of Fame selectors, authors, and historians. You'll learn how the game evolved and important moments that shaped the sport into what it is today. And don't miss the Pro Football History Nugget of the Week. Listen to the official Football Learning Academy podcast on the Sports History Network.
How about that? I bet you're super hyped to go listen to that new podcast, right? Well, to learn about this show and all the other podcasts on the network, head over to sportshistorynetwork.com/podcast. Again, that's sportshistorynetwork.com/podcast. Head over there today to find your next favorite sports history podcast.